Hey, everybody. And hey, Reed. Thanks for that awesome introduction, by the way. I really appreciate that. I want to welcome everybody to the webinar today. I'm happy to be here, and I've got some great information to share. And this webinar is going to be absolutely jam-packed with information for everybody to take away. So, with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and get started, if that's okay. Today you will learn how to build a solid foundation on LinkedIn by creating an all-star profile, how to find your target market on LinkedIn and create the perfect avatar, how to achieve authority status in your industry, the best ways to use LinkedIn to find highly targeted prospects, messaging and scripting, the right way, of course, for the best results, how to execute a complete prospecting and lead generation campaign on LinkedIn, little known but very effective free tools and resources that'll make your life easier while using LinkedIn, and much more. Now, according to Bloomberg and Forbes, 8 out of 10 small businesses fail. That means a whopping 80% crash and burn. Why is that? Well, on the surface, the main reason that these businesses fail is they simply run out of cash. In other words, cash flow problems. Let's face it, running a business can be tough. If you're like most business owners, it can be very stressful. You get a momentum going and you put all of your efforts into working with those clients. But before you know it, you find that your well ran dry and you need more clients. The work slows down and you find yourself on a mad dash to find new clients and keep the money coming in. When your business is constantly going up and down, so is your cash flow. When you find yourself stressed and scrambling to make ends meet, you can't properly focus on growing your business. This cycle can be maddening, and I call it the cash flow roller coaster. How many of you have found yourself in this situation? How many of you could use more leads? Type yes in the chat box right now if you have been in this situation and you could use a more steady stream of leads. Let me take a look here. Oh, I see lots of yeses. Yes, yes, yes. I thought so. I don't know many businesses who haven't faced this problem. But this is why we're here today. I don't want this to happen to you. So I'm here to give you a solution to the problem. And the solution to this problem is a free tool called LinkedIn. Why LinkedIn, you ask? LinkedIn has some of the hottest leads on the planet right now. Check out these facts. LinkedIn has over 5 million users, and that includes highly targeted prospects just for you. LinkedIn is the world's largest business platform. Executives from all Fortune 500 companies are present on LinkedIn, and these company pages are a goldmine if you know how to use them. And there are over 2 million groups on LinkedIn, and these groups are just full of your targeted prospects. You just need to know how to tap into them. Unlike Facebook and Twitter, people are not on LinkedIn to socialize. People are on LinkedIn solely to do business. LinkedIn is unique in the sense that you can build huge networks of people whom you can then utilize to find your ideal prospects who are ready, willing, and able to buy right now. But LinkedIn is massive and full of features that could be very hard for anyone to fully get their head around. Do you have questions like these? Where do I start with LinkedIn? How do I work LinkedIn for maximum leads and sales? Where am I going to find the best strategy to fully benefit from LinkedIn? How do I use LinkedIn to generate so many leads and sales and such an immensely powerful business network that I'll never have to prospect again? Well, that's what I'm here to teach you today. If you're excited about learning how to use LinkedIn to bring all the leads you'll ever need, give me a woohoo in the chat box right now. Come on, let me hear you. Give me a woohoo right now. Let's take a look. Oh, we have lots of shout-outs in the chat box today. Hey, you guys are awesome. Now, I encourage you to stay till the end of the call, and I will have some bonuses for those of you who do. There will be a bonus, there will be an offer, and there will be a detailed success plan waiting for you to take away at the end of this webinar. And there will be a question and answer session. I always save the best for last because I like to reward those of you who are action takers. Now, I'm Tammy Homegardner, and I'll be your speaker today. I want to let you know a little bit about me and how I can help you. I have over 18 years of being a business owner in the home furnishings market until all of my leads dried up in the housing market crash of 2009. I vowed to find the best way to generate leads and keep them coming in on a steady basis. And I found that solution with LinkedIn. Since then, I have studied with some of the top experts in the field and have become a LinkedIn expert and consultant. I am the best-selling author of the book LinkedIn Exposed: How to Make Quick Profits with LinkedIn. I am also the author of the book and the companion training series, LinkedIn Exposed: How to Turn Any Profile into a Networking Machine. Now, LinkedIn has made me very successful, and I want to make you successful too. So I'm going to teach you all I can in the time that we have today. Now, I want to know about you. What is the reason that you feel that presents your biggest challenge in generating ongoing leads for your business? Number 1, I don't have the right lead generation tools in place. Number 2, I haven't been successful generating leads on social media. Number 3, I find the leads, but they're not converting very well. 4, I don't have a complete sales process in place. Number 5, I have a LinkedIn profile, but I don't know how to use LinkedIn to get leads. Or 6, all of the above. Let me know in the chat box the number that corresponds to the biggest challenge you have in using LinkedIn for lead generations. Go ahead and let me know in the chat box right now, please. And let's take a look. 611-626-51-666-4-5-4-6. There's a couple more 5s, and you guessed it, a ton of number 6s, all of the above. So for those of you who said all of the above, that's what we're here to do today. We're going to find solutions to all of these challenges, and we're going to put a plan in place for lead generation using LinkedIn. So, I want you to imagine what your life would be like when you know how to set up a system of having highly targeted leads coming in like clockwork to avoid those ups and downs of sales cycles and cash flow. I want you to imagine what your life would be like if you never had to worry about the cash flow roller coaster or declining sales cycles ever again. And I want you to imagine what your life would be like if you have more leads and higher sales conversions than you could ever want. Will that make a difference for you and your family? That's what we're going to dive into today. So let's start with strategy 1, building your foundation on LinkedIn. Now, the first part of building a foundation on LinkedIn is to optimize your profile. If you want to have success with LinkedIn, it's essential to have a profile that's professional, that is optimized with the right keywords, and client-focused. In other words, your LinkedIn profile must speak to your ideal client and tell them how you can help them. The two mistakes that I see business people make with their LinkedIn profiles are: number one, treating your LinkedIn profile like it's just an online resume instead of letting your clients know what you can do for them. And the second one is creating your profile without doing the research to actually find out who your target client actually is. But before you get started on optimizing your profile, you need to know who you're optimizing it for. Knowing your audience is the cornerstone of all of your marketing efforts. Most people get this part dead wrong. They think that their product or service is the cornerstone of their business, and that's a mistake. Your product or service is created to serve your audience. But without an audience, you have nothing. So who is your target market? Most people think they know their target audience, but even if you're absolutely confident, there's actually no excuse for not backing that up with hard data. Most people make the mistake of thinking that they are their target audience and will use their preferences in place of the wants and needs of the actual target market. Here's an example. What if you hate using the Bing search engine? Therefore, all you do is optimize your web pages for Google. But when looking at the cold hard facts using analytics, you find out that 30% of your ideal prospects have actually been coming in from Bing. Would that maybe change your mind about who your target market really is and make you forget about your personal preferences? I know that would make me change my mind. The first thing that you need to know is your target audience's vocabulary. What keywords are they using to relate to your products and services? Again, what keywords are they using to relate to your products or services? Do you know? Here's one great resource to help you find this out. If you go to the address on the screen, and we're going to put this in the chat box for you, by the way, so you can copy and paste it if you'd like. If you go to the URL https://adwords.google.com/keyword planner, this will take you to Google's keyword planner. Here you can search for new keywords using a phrase, and you can find the most popular keywords that are used on Google, which of course is the largest search engine. So let me show you an example of using the keyword planner. Let's say that you are a web designer. Let's type that in here and then go see what Google has to tell us. The results of this search are actually a little surprising. You can see that what we thought would be a main keyword, meaning the word website designer, only gets about 10,000 searches per month, while graphic design gets a whopping 201,000, web design gets 165,000, and website design gets 110,000. And if we look down, web designer gets 49,000. So what this is telling us is if we want to use the word designer in our phrase, we need to use the keyword phrase web designer rather than website designer to optimize our profile. Make sense? So here's a super tip for you. Make sure that you use the same keywords in your profile that your ideal clients would input when doing a search for someone with your specialty. So for our example, if you are selling web building services, you should choose up to 3 keyword or keyword phrases and include them throughout your profile. And while we were going to use website designer, when we actually look at the facts on Google, we would be better off to use graphic design, web design, and website design as our main keywords, Or if we wanted to use the word web designer, as I said, we need to use web designer instead of website designer because more people are searching for that keyword phrase. Now, on your LinkedIn profile, some of the most important places to include these keywords are in your headline, your summary, in the title and description of your current work experience, in the title and description of your past work experiences, and in the skills section. Now, not only do we need to know our target audience's vocabulary, but you also need to know their habits. Where do they hang out? What social networks do they use? What interests do they have? It's also important to know what competitors they're buying from and which brands they're engaging with. Another great thing to know is when are they online? There are many other questions like this that need answered. But do you know what one of the most important things you need to know about your target market is? Give me a yes in the chat box right now if you want to know what one of the most important things you need to know about your target market is. Let's look in the chat box. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, good, you're still with me. It looks like everybody wants to know more, so I'm going to go ahead and continue. Now, one of the most important things you need to know about your target market is, what are the pain points of that target market? A pain point is a problem that your prospect is having. What can't he or she solve? What keeps them up at night? To be successful in sales, you need to know what those pain points are and provide a solution in order to turn a potential prospect into a customer. Now, as I told you earlier, there will be a special offer at the end of this webinar. And while unfortunately I don't have time now to show you all of the free tools that I have in my arsenal to help you find all of the answers to these questions that we just discussed about your target market, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't let you know that I have all of these little known yet very effective tools and strategies and resources available in my course for you. So you don't want to miss out on this special offer. Now, let's move on. The summary on your LinkedIn profile is the place for you to tell your sales story. You will need an enticing, keyword-optimized, client-oriented summary to be successful with LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn summary should include... Oops, we have a spelling mistake on include there. My apologies. Again, your summary should include 1 to 2 paragraphs telling your story, who you are, why you do what you do, and what makes you credible. Who your ideal clients are. What problem your ideal clients face. What solutions you offer to solve these problems. And a call to action. What you want them to do next, meaning to call you, email you, connect with you, etc. Let's review strategy 1. We have identified that cash flow is one of the biggest reasons that businesses fail. Businesses get on the cash flow roller coaster because of declining sales cycles. Our solution to this problem is to get a solid lead generation plan in place that will bring us a steady stream of prospects, and we're going to use LinkedIn to do that. We're going to build a solid foundation to start by creating an all-star profile on LinkedIn, and we're going to take the time to find out who our target market really is. We're also going to use Google to find out our most important keywords. We are going to use some awesome free tools to find out our target market's pain points so that we can help them. But why should they listen to us? Well, let's move on to strategy 2 to find out. Strategy 2, how to build authority status in your industry using LinkedIn. And this works even when you're just starting out. The first way to build authority on LinkedIn is to have an all-star profile on LinkedIn. And the secret formula to getting an all-star profile, which has never been published by LinkedIn, as it's one of their top secret algorithms, is in my book, LinkedIn Exposed, How to Turn Any LinkedIn Profile into a Networking Machine. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give those of you who stay until the end of the webinar a free copy of my book. You'll find instructions at the end of the webinar on how to get your free digital copy. And just to show you what I'm talking about, if you go to LinkedIn and click on the word profile on the top navigation bar, you will see on the right of your profile that there's a status meter that says profile strength. All-star status is the highest profile status you can achieve, and when you hit that status, you will get a bump in the LinkedIn search algorithm, which helps you to be found much easier. Once your profile is stellar, you'll want to continue to make targeted connections, but you're now ready to start joining some LinkedIn groups. Now let's talk about how to use LinkedIn groups to generate leads. You'll want to make sure that the groups you choose are where your target market hangs out. This is so important it bears repeating. You want to make sure that you choose the groups where your target market hangs out. Now, this is where most people get things dead wrong. Let me give you an example. Let's just use the industry of website design that we used earlier. If you're a web designer, you should be able to just search in LinkedIn and find lots of groups to join about web design and web designers, right? Wrong. These groups are where our peers hang out, not our target market. While we certainly want to join some of these groups to keep up on industry news and hang out with our peers and share experiences, we want the majority of the groups we join to be full of our target market. So, for example, if you are a web designer, you need to decide what industry you want to target and then continue to target industries one at a time. Because if you try to target everyone, that would be very painful and very expensive. An example industry to target would be interior designers, home decorating products, etc. So if you want to build websites for the interior design industry, then doesn't it make more sense to join groups that are full of home decorators and interior designers that you can target to buy your services? You can then begin to communicate with these prospects and show your authority in web building for interior designers. Boom! That concept is a powerhouse, and you need to take this example and apply it to your own industry. The second critical component to establishing authority on LinkedIn is to share others' content. By doing this, you can create a constant stream of valuable content on your LinkedIn profile and inside of your targeted groups. Now, here's an easy way to do this. Go to the top of your LinkedIn profile and use the drop-down to the left of the main white search bar and choose to search by posts. Then search for articles that your target market might enjoy that also relate to your industry. For example, let's search for the best interior design websites. And here we have found an interesting article that's about the top 5 interior design blogs. What we'll want to do is click on the article. When the page opens, we want to copy the URL at the top into your browser. You then want to go to your LinkedIn profile homepage and use the feature on the left that says Share and Update. You just paste the URL of the article in the post area, and LinkedIn will render an image and a link to the article for you. Voila! Now note, you will notice that there is a drop-down box next to the Share button, and you can share this article with the public, just your connections, or with the public and Twitter as well. Now here's a super tip. If you use web tools such as Buffer or Hootsuite, you can do much more with sharing an update on LinkedIn. These tools will let you choose to share updates with your groups as well. And you can schedule the updates to go out at future times. This is a great time saver because you can go in on, say, a Monday and find 7 articles to share and set up a schedule to have one post each day of the week. Now, the third way to build authority on LinkedIn is to create your own content and share it. Okay, how many of you just groaned literally out loud when I said that?
Don't!
Give me a Homer Simpson
Don't!
in the chat box right now if you weren't happy to hear that you have to create your own content. Let's check the chat box. Oh, we have a ton of Homer Simpsons out there. Well, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that I can show you some really awesome tricks of the trade to create your own content in just minutes. And the other good news is that when we create content, we use the 80-20 rule. You will use 80% of others' content to share, and you only have to create 20% of your own content. The bad news is that we still have so much to go over that I don't have time to show you the 3 ways to create awesome content in just minutes. But these very awesome tricks to help you easily create your own unique content and help to establish an authority platform will be available in our special offer. Now, if you only got all the information in Module 1 and Module 2 of my course, would that be valuable to you? We've still got a lot to go over, so I'm going to move right along to Strategy 3, Building a Prospecting Plan. We have built an all-star profile and determined who our target market is. We have made first-degree connections, joined relevant groups, and established ourselves as an authority figure in our industry. Now we want to actually start looking for those highly targeted prospects. How do we do this? Well, LinkedIn is the best tool on the planet for prospecting. Most people would say that searching for your best keywords in a LinkedIn search will yield the best results when prospecting. Do you agree with that? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat box if you think that's the best way to use LinkedIn for lead generation. Okay, let's go check. I see lots of answers in the chat box. Lots of yeses, but also lots of no's. Well, both answers are somewhat right. Technically, you certainly want to search for your best keywords in LinkedIn to find the best prospects. But I have a very underutilized but highly effective strategy for you that I feel is the best way to find targeted prospects. Want to know what that is? You need to leverage LinkedIn by using your own connections and searching for prospects inside of your network. So what you want to do is you want to use connections you already have that are in your target market. Statistics show that similar people tend to run with similar people. Because these people are connected to someone you already know, it will be much easier to get through to them. Let me demonstrate. Let's say that your target market is attorneys. You should first look inside of your own connections for attorneys. And here's someone I know, one of my first-degree connections that's an attorney. We're going to open up his profile and you will see that he has 500 plus connections. If you put your cursor on the 500, that is clickable. So go ahead and click on it. When the page opens, this will show you the first 10 of Brian's connections. And note that there is a next button at the bottom right so that you can see 10 more and so on. But what's really important to note is that there is a search icon in the upper right. click on that search icon and type in attorney as our keyword in the search box. And take a look at our results. Just that quick, we have 123 people who are in our target market that we can prospect to. Now, we'll get to messaging and scripting in the next module, but here's just an idea of how I would go about reaching out to these prospects. I would start out by sending them a connection request, and I would say something like this. Hi Dylan, I see that we have Brian Jones as a shared connection and that you are also an attorney. I am also in the legal space and I'm interested in talking with you. Can we connect? Once you post the message like this, you are, number one, letting them know that you have a shared connection or a common connection, and you're letting them know that you took the time to look at their profile, you see that they're an attorney, and you're not saying that you're an attorney, but if attorneys are your target market, you're basically saying that you're in the legal space. And you let them know that you're interested in talking with them. These type of messages get a pretty high percentage of being accepted due to the fact that you have taken the time to find out who these people are and you're asking them to connect with you. Now, if you don't have any connections yet that you can tap into, you can use the same idea by going to the people search in LinkedIn and searching for your target keywords. So what you would do is use the drop down again next to the left of the white search bar and clicking on people and then typing in your keywords. And then you can use the results that come up, analyze those, and figure out who you want to send connection requests to. Now let's continue on with the people search, but let me show you how to use LinkedIn's advanced search to narrow down your search so that you get the most highly targeted prospects possible. When we search for a broad term like attorney, we will get very broad results. You can see on the screen that when I just did a search for attorneys, I got over 7,000 attorneys to come up. So we want to target this down, and so how we're going to do that is we're going to use the filters on the left side of the screen so that we can zero in on our prospects. The first thing that we'll want to do is we'll want to look for second-degree connections under relationship filter because they're going to be the easiest to connect with. We won't check the box next to first because we're already connected to them. So once we click on second-degree connections, this brings our search down to about 29,000, so it's starting to limit it down. Next, if we want to add a location to our search, let's say we want to search for all attorneys in New York City. We can then filter it down by checking off New York City or adding the location that we're interested in searching for. You can see in our search that by limiting it down to Greater New York City, this has brought our results down to just under 3,000. Now, there are many more filters as you go down the left-hand side of the page that you can add to this, such as company, industry, etc. So you can keep drilling down to target your prospect even further. So by using these filters that LinkedIn has set up, LinkedIn makes it really easy to find tons of great prospects. Now, let me show you a trick that not many people use for prospecting. Once you have your filters down and decided upon, as you can see in the square on the screen, that we have chosen the keyword attorney, we want to search for our second-degree connections in the Greater New York City area. If you look over to the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see it says Save Search. If you click on this, a box opens where you can save the search. But more importantly, you can set up an alert. This will have LinkedIn send you an email each week with anyone new that meets the criteria that you have set up. So do you know what this means? This means that you can have highly targeted prospects coming into your inbox on autopilot. How cool is that? Now, here's one more of my many very, very cool ways to prospect on LinkedIn. And this prospecting tip is pure gold. What we're going to do is use the Alumni feature on LinkedIn to find highly targeted prospects. And note, it doesn't matter whether you went to that school or not, by the way. Anyone can use this feature. I graduated from Ohio State, so LinkedIn has automatically loaded this school when I went to the Alumni section. And by the way, you can find the Alumni section by going up to the black navigation bar and clicking on My Network and then clicking on Alumni. So let's take a look at this screen and see what this is telling us. First of all, I want you to note that even though it loaded my school, Ohio State, over on the right-hand side, it gives you the opportunity via that blue button to change the university. So let's go back and use our attorney example that we've been using, and let's go search from attorneys that are, say, in their 40s. Now, what a better place to look for attorneys than Harvard Law, huh? So what I'm going to do is change the university and bring up Harvard Law. When I do this, you can see that you can enter the years that someone attended the school, and so I've put in a date range. You can also pick the current location of the prospect, and there are then a ton of criteria that you can choose from just by scrolling to the right, and you can see I've circled the arrow in red. Now, there's all kinds of filters like what they studied, what they're skilled at, how you're connected to them, and so forth. There's just absolutely a ton of criteria in here. And you just kind of need to get in here and use the filters and play around with it until you can target down your prospects and that you're happy with the results. And you can see some of my targets in the red square there on the screen. I have targeted those who are in the legal field in greater New York City, and it's given me about 401 results. You can also see when you look toward the bottom of the screen that LinkedIn will then bring up all of the profiles of those matching the criteria. So now you've got all of these prospects right here at your fingertips. Is that powerful or what? Give me a yes in the chat box right now if you think this concept is powerful. Do you think this is something you can use? Let me know in the chat box right now. I need to know that you guys are still with me. And I see lots of yeses in the chat box. Good, I'm glad you guys are all still with me. So, I have shown you numerous ways to prospect on LinkedIn and capture more leads virtually overnight. But now that we know how to find prospects, what do we do next? That brings us to strategy 4, messaging on LinkedIn. Now, as we've already talked about, you always want to connect with your prospects. And you need to be sure that you always send a personalized message when sending a connection request. I showed you how to message a second-degree connection earlier, and you can see that on your screen. Now, here's an example if you are members of the same group. This message also works for people in the same industry as well. Hi, name. Since we're both members of group name, I thought it would be great to connect here on LinkedIn. As a vocation, I always love to meet people in the same industry that are of like mind. You should always send a thank you message whether you get a connection or if someone accepts your connection. And here's an example of a thank you message. Hi, prospect's name. Thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to connect. If you haven't already done so, please take a look at my website as I have some articles and free downloads that I think you might be interested in. Don't hesitate to let me know if there's anything I can do to assist you. Is there anywhere else online I should also connect with you? Kind regards. Sorry about the typo there on that message, by the way. We will talk more about the website that we're referring to in this message a little later in the training, but the point here is that the thank you message gives you an opportunity not just to say thank you and leave, but you can actually invite them back to a place where you could possibly capture their name and email so that you can get their email address and kind of move them off of LinkedIn. So that's the point we're trying to make with this message here. Now next, you should always go through the Who's Viewed Your Profile section and send out messages daily to everyone who's viewed your profile. They looked at your profile for a reason, so it's certainly worth trying to reach out for a connection. This message says, "Hi, prospect's name. I see that you have looked at my profile recently, and I appreciate you taking a look. It would be great to get to know you better, and I'd be delighted if you were to connect with me on LinkedIn. I look forward to getting to know you, so please feel free to send me a connection request. My LinkedIn email address is tammy@linkedintojobs.com. Kind regards." There's several things you're doing here. This message softens the Who's Viewed Your Profile thing so that you don't make them feel bad for looking at your profile or make them feel like a voyeur or something. But that softens that part of it. And then you're also asking them to reach out and send you a connection request. That way you don't use up all of your connection requests. So that's why it's smart to go ahead and give them your LinkedIn email address in this type of a message. Now, another type of message you should be sending on LinkedIn is a follow-up message, and you should send this about a week later after you have sent a thank you message out to a client. After you've sent a thank you message out. Now, in this message, this is just an example on the screen, but basically what you're doing here is that you are sending that person something of value, whether it be a link to an article, some news in the industry, or whatnot, but you're basically just following up, keeping in touch, making conversation, and so forth, by giving them something of value, as I said. And it also helps you with your authority building as well, but it's just a way to keep the dialogue going. And so, as an example, here's how this message reads. "Hi, name. I hope that all is well with you. I know that you're very involved in the beauty industry with your work at company name. So this newsflash may be of interest to you as it again highlights the growing concern of toxic chemicals in consumer products and shows the concrete measures being taken to address this abroad. The EU has always been stricter when it comes to toxic chemicals in skincare products, recently banning a chemical linked to eczema. Here's a link to the article I think you'll find interesting. Insert link here. As an experienced professional in the industry, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Your name." Then, a week after that, you should send them another message. And this message, you're going to basically find something that you have in common or something that you can pull out from them. But what you're going to do is you're going to try to ask them if you can get on a call with them. So as you can see, the second paragraph says, "Would you be available for a quick phone call next week to discuss?" So the point of the second follow-up is to try to move them off of LinkedIn and get a call with them. Now I have a super tip for you. Be sure to respond to all of your LinkedIn messages. And you want to make sure you do this timely, which means daily. You don't want to invite prospects to connect and then drop the ball after you've done the work. So to review, you basically want to do your prospecting. Once you find the prospects that you're interested in, you want to send them a connection request. You want to personalize the connection request. Once they accept the request, you want to send them a thank you message. You want to send that thank you message and include a web URL where you can potentially collect that person's name and email address. A week later, you want to send them a message that contains some sort of value, whether that be an article, a link to something, letting them know something that's happened or is newsworthy in your industry and asking their opinion on it. And then a week after the first follow-up, you want to send follow-up number 2. And in this case, again, you want to provide something of value. And you want to see if you can possibly get a call with them so that you can take the connection off of LinkedIn. So now, let's move on to strategy 5. But before I do that, let me ask you a question. Do you think the webinar has been valuable so far? Let me know in the chat box if you think this has been valuable to you. That helps me a lot. Let me take a look here. Okay, I've got a bunch of yeses. Jen says, absolutely. Brett says, yes. Lauren says, more than valuable. Thanks, Lauren. I really appreciate that. Okay, great. I'm glad that you guys are finding value in this because that's the whole point of doing this for you. Okay, let's move on to strategy 5. And strategy 5 is execution. Now, our goal here is to have a lead generating plan. We want to take action, follow our strategies, and complete the tasks. When we do this, this will be our road to success. Now, first, we want to talk about our plan. Our plan is prospecting, making a first contact, then building a relationship with the contact, and then taking the relationship to the next level. When we take the relationship to the next level, this is where we want to turn the prospects into clients or customers. So let's take a look at our funnel here. We've already gone over identifying the prospects in strategy 3. We just went over in strategy 4 sending connection requests, thank you messages, and value building follow-up messages. We can also engage with our prospects on LinkedIn groups and on other social media. But our ultimate goal is to push our prospects through the funnel and move the relationship offline, or at least into our own database. This is the critical step and also where most people fall short. Without this step, there's a whole lot of social without any selling. And that's certainly not what we want. But once you've built enough rapport, you have to make the transition to an offline conversation before anything can really happen. Now, if you have followed the plan and have gotten the prospect to know, like, and trust you, they should be open to the idea of taking things to the next level, since you have already demonstrated credibility, expertise, and your ability to provide value. Now, we're running out of time, so I can't go into the last 2 strategies of our offer, but let me tell you what they are. Strategy 6 is company pages. LinkedIn company pages are a powerhouse if you know how to use them. Okay, I'll give you a little hint here. Were you aware that LinkedIn basically has a company directory for each of the millions of companies listed? Here, I'll give you a quick peek. So let's say that you sell software and you've been dying to get your foot in the door at General Electric. Here's what you would do. You would go to the drop-down. Just to the left of the big white search box at the top of a LinkedIn page, and you're going to search for companies. Once you click on companies, then go ahead and type in the company name. In this case, it's General Electric, and we found it here. So what we want to do is go ahead and click on the page and open the company page. Once we open the company page, you will always see a section over on the right-hand side that says How You're Connected. You will see a line at the bottom of that section that says blank number of employees on LinkedIn. Although you can't readily tell if you move your mouse or your cursor over the number, in this case it's 183,000, that number is actually clickable. So you want to click on that number, and when you do, this is the page that opens up. And guess what this is? This is basically a company directory. These are all the people that work for General Electric that are on LinkedIn. Now you will notice at the top that the number is significantly different, meaning 28,000. And that's because I filtered this down for us and just chose United States as our location here. And that's because I've already filtered this down and chosen the United States as our location. But here's the big secret. And I say secret because very few people know this. If you look up on the upper left-hand side of the screen, you will see the text that says Advanced. If you click on that word Advanced, a pop-up box will come out, and this is your Advanced People search. What this search will do is it will actually search inside of this company rather than what the top white box does is search on all of LinkedIn. So in this case, since I'm dealing with software, I want to find the director of IT. So all I have to do is type in keywords, the director of IT. You can type in any of your keywords, someone's job title, whatever it may be, to find the person that you want to find at a company. But in my example, once I type in the director of IT and hit search, guess what it brings up? Look at my results. Here are all of the people that work in IT. So now I have all of these people that I could possibly contact to get my foot in the door and sell my product. And I can contact these people directly through LinkedIn. I would do that by first trying to get a connection request, and then I would send them a message. But I'm sure you noticed that we didn't even have to leave LinkedIn to find somebody at a company by going through the company pages. How cool is that? And this is only the tip of the iceberg of all that I can teach you about LinkedIn lead generation. Introducing LinkedIn to Free Leads 7-week training course. LinkedIn to Free Leads 7-week training course is all about helping you get more leads and higher sales conversions and put a lead generation process in place fast without the cash flow roller coaster and declining sales cycles. Here's what you're going to get. A 7-week video training course that has a $997 value. Membership in a private group where you can network with others and get your questions answered by me personally. $250 value. One-on-one personal email support from me personally. $500 value. Workbooks and resource guides. $199 value. And lead generation success blueprint, which is $150 value. So the total value so far of what you're going to get is $2,096. Think about this. We all have disposable income. Most people get their paychecks each month, and a percentage of that goes toward movies, candy, magazines, Starbucks coffee, going out to dinner, and things like that. I'm not asking you to go in debt for all this. What I'm asking you to do is take some of that disposable income that you're going to spend anyway on movies and going out to dinner and that type of stuff. Instead of blowing it on something temporary, I'm asking you to make an investment in yourselves, because the money that you put into this course is ultimately going to turn into more money for you. Now, bonus number 1, my proprietary LinkedIn software that will bring you highly targeted prospects on autopilot. This is an awesome bonus, and this is going to help you out a lot, because this will actually bring in targeted prospects while you sleep. And this is a $497 value. The bottom line is, if you only got that piece alone, it would still be worth the entire investment. If that's all I gave you, it would still be worth it. But you're getting something even more. On top of that, I'm also going to give you a 7-week training course, which is a $997 value, membership in the private group where you can network with others, $250 value, your one-on-one personal email support from me personally, $500 value, your workbooks and resource guides, $199, lead generation success blueprint for $150, but you're also going to get my proprietary LinkedIn software that will help you bring targeted prospects in on autopilot, which is a $497 value, as I said. So this brings the total value to $2,593. Now, I need to make a point, because every single week or every 2 weeks you get a paycheck, right? The cool thing about it is you get that paycheck, you go out, you pay your bills, you buy your groceries, you have your disposable income, you spend that money, and the money disappears. But then, what happens 1 or 2 weeks later? You get paid again, and the money replenishes. The cool thing about money is money always replenishes. It keeps coming back again over and over and over again, right? Let me ask you a question. Does that happen with your time, too? When you miss your daughter's soccer game because you're at the office, do you get that time back? No, time doesn't come back, does it? Isn't that weird? Money replenishes every 2 weeks, but your time never comes back. What I'm asking you to do is to take an asset, take a resource that replenishes every 2 weeks. It's going to come back. You're going to get that money back every 2 weeks. And invest that money in something that's going to save you a ton of time. Because you can learn this stuff on your own. You can go figure it all out the hard way like I did. You can go on the cash flow roller coaster and have declining sales cycles all on your own. You can do all of this stuff. I'm just trying to save you a bunch of time. And because you can't get your time back, I'm asking you to take money, which is replenishable, and use it to buy your freedom. In 2 weeks from now, you're going to have money back again anyway. Yes, you can go figure out how to get more leads and higher sales conversions, and get a lead generation process in place on your own. But think of all the testing, trial and error, and realize that your time to do that will not come back. Your money's going to be back in 2 weeks. It keeps coming back like clockwork. That's just how it works. So take some of that money and invest it into the LinkedIn to Free Leads 7-week training course instead, and it'll be back in 2 weeks anyway. Now here's a second bonus that I'm going to include for you. This is my outsourcing guide called Outsourcing Everything, a guide to finding the perfect VA, which stands for virtual assistant, of course. And this has a $49 value. Now, I want to ask you guys a question. So, you've probably been on these type of webinars in the past, right? You get excited, you get fired up, and then what happens the next day? Probably nothing for most of you. And that's sad, because I just showed you guys the exact system that I'm using right now to get more leads and higher sales conversions. You're going to go back tomorrow and not do anything. The reason why is because of old habits. They're hard to break. You're going to go back to your office the next day and you're going to be in the exact same habits. But the only way that you're going to be successful is if we figure out a way to break that habit right now. And the way that you're going to break that habit is by investing in the 7-week training course. Now I can come here and I can help you and I can give you all the tools you need to break that habit so that you can become successful. But if you don't do that, you're going to slide back into your exact same old habits. Everything we did for the last hour or so here will be completely useless because you just go back to your old habits. So the only way to break that habit is to invest in yourself right now and give yourself the tools to be able to generate leads like clockwork using LinkedIn and take your marketing to the next level. Now for bonus 3, I'm going to throw in a digital copy of my best-selling book, LinkedIn Exposed, How to Turn Any LinkedIn Profile into a Networking Machine. And this is a $29 value. Now, there are 2 kinds of people who show up on my webinars. The first one is the timid, nervous guy or gal who gets on here and they think it's really cool, it makes sense, and they want to do it, but they just don't take action. I don't know about you, but I don't really like working with people like that. Those people are never successful. The people I like are people like us. They get on the webinar and they hear it, they understand it, and they step up and want to produce. And boom, they come out here and they get results and make things happen. So I'm going to ask you, what are you? Are you the guy on the left or are you the guy on the right? The guy on the left will probably get tired and hang up on the webinar soon. But if you're ready to take some massive action in your life and do some cool stuff and change your life for the better, if you want to join us, okay, this is what we're going to do. Come sign up right now at linkedintofreeleads.com/yes. I give you my guarantee. If the LinkedIn to Free Leads 7-week training course doesn't help you with exactly how to get more leads and higher sales conversions and to put a lead generation process in place, then I'll refund your money. All you have to do is get started now with LinkedIn to Free Leads 7-week training course for just $397. LinkedIn to freeleads.com/yes. Go ahead and get signed up. Now remember, right now you have no idea how to get past the cash flow roller coaster or your declining sales cycles. But after you invest in the LinkedIn to Free Leads 7-week training course, all those problems will be gone. They evaporate and you can concentrate on more leads and higher sales conversions, along with putting your lead generation process in place. That's the power of the LinkedIn to Free Leads 7-week training course. Now, here are the modules of the course. Module 1 is building your foundation on LinkedIn. Module 2 is building authority status in your industry. Module 3 is finding highly targeted prospects for your business. Module 4, messaging and scripting that is unique for your prospects. Module 5, execution of your lead generation plan, LinkedIn tools, and little-known power resources. Module 6, using company pages. And Module 7, daily and weekly plans to keep you on track with your lead generation. Now, you will get one module each week for 7 weeks. And the reason that we do this is because this gives you time to implement each module before moving on. Each module builds on the last. So go get signed up at linkedintofreeleads.com/yes. Now, I want to remind you that this $397 price is a webinar special only, so you want to sign up and get this today while the price is still low. This price is only good for today, and tomorrow it's going to go back up to its regular price. So don't hesitate. Go ahead and get yours today. And remember, you'll also get workbooks, tools, and resources with each module, and my personal email so that I can help you along the way. You'll also get membership to a private group where you can also get help and communicate among your peers. And I will personally be available to you throughout the modules to help you with anything that you need. Don't miss out on this special. Go sign up right now while you can at this low price. And I also promised those of you who stayed until the end a free digital copy of my book, LinkedIn Exposed. So here's how you can get your copy of that book. Go to linkedintofreeleads.com/bonus, and you can download the book there. Now, next up will be the question and answer, the Q&A, but I urge you to go ahead and sign up now at linkedintofreeleads.com/yes. You're not going to have an opportunity like this for very long. Okay, let's get into the question and answer session. Let me see what we've got here in the chat box. Okay. Lindsay asks, what if I'm just starting out with LinkedIn? Will I be able to make it through the course? Great question, Lindsay. And the answer is absolutely yes. Each module comes with the step-by-step instructions for you to follow, and then you'll also have support from me personally. So you shouldn't have any problems that we can't tackle together. So please go ahead and sign up, Lindsay. I look forward to working with you. Okay. Robin asks, how will we keep track of who we've messaged and which message we need to send next? Robin, that's all part of the system that we'll be teaching you. It's a step-by-step, easy-to-follow lead generation plan, and in that, we will show you how to do this, how to organize your messages. And so the answer is it's all in the LinkedIn to Free Leads training for you. Okay. Brett asks, will the course be updated? Yes, Brett, we will update the course at least once a year to include the latest changes from LinkedIn, and we'll also add any new strategies that we've tried and tested and have executed. So you will get some new things along the way as well. Troy asks, how can we message prospects if we don't have a premium account? Troy, that's a great question. But this system is predicated on connecting first. In other words, sending out connection requests or accepting them. And what you're going to be doing is messaging your first degree connections. And LinkedIn allows you to message your first degree connections for free. So the system actually takes care of that for you, and you don't need a premium account to use our system. Becky asks, how does the course work? Do we get all the information at once? No, Becky. You actually will get one module at a time, one module each week. You will get the training and a daily and a weekly task or checklist with each module. One of the main problems most people struggle with in lead generation is actually formulating a plan to keep steady leads coming in. They only work on lead generation when they're desperate or when they're hungry, so to speak, and they never quite get organized. So it's a kind of a feast or famine thing is what we see most often with salespeople. But our system is set up to avoid these problems. And since each section builds on the next, we want to allow you time to master each module and do the tasks before giving you the next. At the end of the course, you'll have a complete system in place, and you'll know what to do each day and each week to continue on and have an ongoing system of leads. Tracy asks, will you be showing us more ways of prospecting in the course? You mentioned in the webinar that you had lots of ways. Tracy, glad you were paying attention. I did say that, and you are correct. There are going to be more ways to learn how to prospect inside of the course. I couldn't go over them all in the webinar. We simply didn't have that kind of time. But yes, on top of what I've already shown you on the webinar, there's lots more goodies in there. So Tracy, go ahead and go sign up. Now Quentin asks, will we get copies of the messages and the scripting that you showed us? Quentin, yes, you will. And not only will you get copies of the messages that I showed you on the webinar, but there's a whole slew of scripting that comes with the course. There's basically scripting for everything you need to do and then some. Okay, are there any more questions today? Did I answer all of the questions? Okay, great. Well, folks, we're running out of time, but I want to thank you for being here with us today, and I encourage you one more time to go to linkedintofreeleads.com/yes and grab this training course. It's jam-packed with information. It's unlike any of the other courses out there. You don't want to miss out at this special price. Again, thanks for being here, and I look forward to working with you.